people will look at any organization and say, can I change everything? And the answer is no.
So great, Dan. It's wonderful to have you here at our leadership forum. I mean, I hope you know that your work and your thinking around motivation, around purpose, autonomy, and mastery has been influential for me as a leader. One of the things that struck me in our conversation earlier was around purpose. And you pointed out, and we're very proud to hear that we are a company that has an incredibly noble purpose. This big purpose: reimagine medicine,
Right.
Transform the lives of patients.
We have to look at purpose as not one thing but two things. And one of them is this capital P purpose, which Novartis has in spades. It's baked right into the mission of what you do, to the products that you deliver to the world. But there's another dimension of purpose, which is just simply, am I making a contribution to my teammate? Am I making a contribution to getting this project out the door? If I didn't show up today, would someone notice? Would things not go as well? And that ends up being a powerful motivator for people.
One of the things that we're really working on is to move from a bossed culture to an unbossed culture. But one of the big things there is for leaders to unlearn old behaviors. Any advice on that?
Learning is really hard. Unlearning is even harder. If you're going to unlearn, you got to start small. If I want to learn how to speak Spanish, do I start by trying to read Don Quixote? Yeah. No, I start by figuring out how to say hello, goodbye, and order a sandwich. And so I think starting small, which sometimes we look down at, is really important.
One of the concepts I was really happy you've been getting across to our organization is that we don't do culture just to feel good, right? One of the things that we really drove home was culture drives performance.
Culture is not soft. Culture is hard. Culture is the essence of it. And so, if we think about it, the culture is environmental. Culture is everything you do. And getting culture wrong is really harmful. It's almost like saying, oh, yeah, there's this thing called oxygen. Yeah. I can't see it, right? But it's there all the time. Yeah. And if it's not sufficient, then people start gasping for air. It's that essential.
One of the questions we often get is, how are we going to change the whole culture of Novartis from the top? But that doesn't seem to be the way actually organizations change, in your view.
I think that the way that organizations change is through small wins. People will look at any organization and say, can I change everything? And the answer is no. Okay? Even if you're the CEO, unfortunately, the answer is no. You can't change everything. But it's the wrong question. The right question is, can I do one thing tomorrow in my own realm to make things better? And the answer to that question is almost always yes. And if you trace the evolution of a lot of these changes, they go back to people asking that question of themselves, coming up with an affirmative answer, and doing something. And then someone else sees, and she starts doing it. And someone else sees, and she starts doing it. And then eventually the people at the top say, hey, I think something's going on here. And they bless it, and that's how real change happens.
That's exactly the approach we're trying to use with Fix One Thing.
I think that the simplicity of fix one thing works, because I fix one thing, and you fix one thing, and she fixes one thing, and it works.
Now, if you had one thing you wanted to fix about leadership in the world, what would you want to fix?
Number one is, I can reduce to 4 words, which is talk less, listen more. Right? I think a lot of times leaders think that leading is talking. Leading is listening, and we're not very good listeners. And so I found that the best leaders I've worked with are extraordinarily good listeners. They stop, they deliberate, they take it all in, they synthesize. The second thing is change your default. Your starting premise should be that human beings are active, engaged, and curious, and eager to do great work. So talk less, listen more. Start with the premise that people are autonomous and trustworthy.